I want to just open this up by just saying that I admire you so much. And I think you're probably one of the most inspiring people in this industry. And what you've done for yourself and for others is really second to none. I mean, you're a remarkable human being.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
that, Scott.
much.
That's really kind. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
No problem at all. I discovered Medea for the first time. I was living in Covina. I was going to film school, and I went to the AMC, and I went to see a little movie called Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Had
Wow. Wow.
no idea what this movie was.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with your work and this character.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. First movie. That's awesome.
I'm so curious to hear the evolution of Medea and why you personally feel she's become so iconic.
I tried to just stay true to what the character's always been. I stay up with the times. She's always been hip and young in her thinking, so I try to stay up with the times. And I think that many people have this kind of grandmother, no matter what race or where you come from. Many people know a grandmother like this in some sense, right? It may not be as brash, may not be as over the top, may not be as tall and big, but the sensibilities, the thought, the wisdom, the I'll knock your lights out kind of thing. And I think that's what's kept her popularity up for so long. And now to join Netflix and have an opportunity to reach the world all at once, when in theaters I was only able to, 1,200 screens, 1,500 screens at the most. So to have this moment happen, it's really incredible.
I wanted to talk about that. I mean, I thought it was huge news when, you kind of stopped doing the Lionsgate thing and
Yeah,
you moved over to Netflix, because I know they've kind of been there from the beginning.
right.
But I've also noticed in this movie that it felt a lot more edgier this time around. There was a lot more curse words and things of that nature. And it felt like, as much as Medea has always been unfiltered, this felt extra unfiltered.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like maybe some of the differences from working with Lionsgate to Netflix in terms of creative freedom?
Yeah, I've never had an issue with creative freedom. I've never had an issue with notes or things like that. It's always been where I was and what I wanted to do at the time. So there was never any inhibiting at Lionsgate. It's just I found myself, when I was writing this, I found myself a little more angry, a little more frustrated, just at the state of the world. I had been dealing with COVID like everybody else in the world. I had been in isolation and not able to really get a good laugh in, or not able to see people. And I think a little of that frustration and watching the social and civil unrest and the things that are happening in the world and politics, I think a little of that frustration came out in this, and that's why it's a little more edgy.
I love in this movie that the humor is so raw, right? Like we were saying, like it's edgier this time around, but there's a lot of social commentary. So I'm curious, and especially the police brutality stuff and that conversation as well. How do you weave in your scripts, kind of having always some sort of like messaging, but also maintaining the funny without being overly preachy?
Yeah, well, what I didn't want to do is poke fun at any of these very, very serious issues. But I did want to raise some thought about, have we thought about maybe thinking of it this way? Have we thought about what happens if you completely eliminate the police? Then what happens? The criminals are thinking the same thing, right? So in those moments, I just wanted to say that to raise the thought and not preach about it, but just say, well, what sense does it make to burn down your own neighborhood because you're upset? Say these things so that people can at least hear them. Hopefully they'll become memes and GIFs, and everyone will have them everywhere when something terrible happens. You know what I mean?
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Tyler, again, thank you very much for telling me to wrap, but it was a pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate it. What's behind you?
Oh, all my stuff. So it's all Nightmare Before Christmas, all the films that I grew up with.
Oh, that's all. Is that Star Wars?
Hey, there's some Star Wars stuff back there
awesome.
too. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you. Pleasure, Scott. I appreciate it.
No problem. Hopefully I'll get to do this again soon.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Bye.